Okay, so this is about tamera at Region 1. I'll give you the real long short of it. So, after the abuse in Virginia and the assaults in Boulder, all in October of 2016, yeah, the first assaults were in October of 2016. I left Virginia in October of 2016. I was assaulted in Boulder, Colorado over things that never happened in Virginia in 2016. Very same month, within just a few days. See, well, you guys want to pretend that these people were incapable of using a telephone, wouldn't call and spread a bunch of rumors. The fact is that the evidence proves that they did. I went to Brenda Dickinson in October of 2016, and she was going to help me get into housing. Here's what she said to me. Now, this is after years of me filling out housing paperwork for low-income housing in Chapel, Nebraska. Years and years. I went in alone to fill out that paperwork, and it went absolutely nowhere. And I kept on having people telling me, you should apply for low income. How about you go with me instead of treating me like shit because you assumed that I didn't? And that right there, that feels like shit. When you've got so many people that want to tell you to do something you're already doing, they don't want to hear whether you've done it or not. They've already passed their judgment and decided that you just don't want housing. You're just not willing to try. You just haven't made any effort. No, these are government services. The government makes their living by ripping people off. This is what they do. The easiest people to rip off are poor people who have no money to defend themselves. Poor people that nobody cares about. And you can see on the news how when there's a situation with a homeless person and somebody else in a house, they'll tell the story of the person in the house. They don't even bother talking to the homeless person. Go ahead and look. News article after news article. Mentally ill homeless person, mentally ill homeless person, mentally ill homeless person. But then you look at two people in houses. Most generally, unless it's a fucking pedophile, they'll try to get both sides. Why do people pretend that their victim is a pedophile or a rapist or a woman beater? Why do predators do this? It's called gaslighting. Women do this because they know we're supposed to give extra sympathy to women. We're supposed to drop everything for women right this moment. And they prove this. You get to hear how many times on my YouTube channel that I have spoken to women who wanted things right now. And they said, right now. When they didn't keep their word for months and they want to say over and over and over again, it takes time. It takes time. Yeah, it takes a lot of time when you never fucking do it. And eventually hearing about your good intentions when you've literally made zero effort to actually help me. Instead, you've tried to bully me into doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't work, that you're not helping me with. You're just bullying me. And I'm not even allowed to say anything about you fucking bullying me because you're going to pretend that I bullied you into doing the right thing, which you never did. I'm not bullying you into doing what a friend should do. I'm telling you, stop lying to me about being my friend because you are obviously going to make no effort into doing what a friend would do. You will lie to me for months coming up with every excuse that on the day that you said you'd help me turn it in, just every other day is fine and dandy. But then magically, the day that you're supposed to help me, you're sick. Or you had to go pick your daughter up at school. Or your kid's sick. Or you got cancer. Or you're just a no-call, no-show. With dozens of other no-call, no-shows as well. And you say, you're not allowed to judge me over those other people. I'm not judging you over those other people. I'm judging you because you're doing it. The reason that I'm telling you about those other people who did it is because there was harm that came to me because of that. And you need to hear that instead of assuming and projecting and being a dick. You guys want to make so much more into it than there actually is. You want to project onto me your assumptions as if it must be the truth. You want to tell me something that you've assumed must be true over and over and over again. And I am telling you, in my experience, in the very specific circumstances and the very specific people that I spoke with, what you're telling me is not the truth. Whether you want to project that that must be the truth in my situation is arbitrary. It's kind of like these people who, when I tell them that the police broke the law, then they want to tell me that what I'm telling them the police did is against the law and a police officer wouldn't break the law. Holy shit. So you've already decided that this person couldn't be guilty because they have a badge. Why are you pretending to be my friend? Must be 6:30. My alarm was going off. Now, what did Tamara do? It was so useful and so helpful. Well, Brenda Dickinson, when it came to the housing thing, I'd been applying for housing literally for years by myself, knowing that if I did it by myself, it wasn't going to go anywhere. But I did it anyway. Because people told me that if I filled out the housing paperwork, they would help me. And then I filled out the housing paperwork and it didn't go anywhere. And because they didn't go in with me, instead of trying to help me by turning it in with me, they treated me like I must be a liar. Oh, Sean, if anybody is eligible for low-income housing, it's you. Yeah, that's your assumption. But you're not going in with me. You're not filling out the paperwork with me. You're not turning in the paperwork with me. Instead, you're treating me like shit because I did what you wanted me to, and you were too lazy of a piece of shit to go in with me, and now you're going to treat me like shit, like I didn't make the effort because they didn't give me housing. So then, beginning of 2017, or late 2016, Brenda Dickinson says to me when I'm telling her, hey, I've been trying to get housing. All right, I'm trying to get housing and nobody will help me. They just want to tell me what to do. And then when it doesn't work out, they treat me like shit because it didn't work out because they assumed how it was supposed to go instead of going in with me. And she had the gall. These are her words to me. Well, now that you're willing to try to get housing, I'll help you. And that's not the only comment that she made in what turned out to be about 45 seconds worth of her basically pushing on to me that I had never tried to get help applying for housing and that I'd never applied for housing and never tried to get housing previously, that I had never been willing to make any effort towards it, literally right after I had explained to her that I had been making an effort. Like, holy shit, what kind of a fucked up person do you have to be to literally interpret it that way? But she did go in with me. She told me that this woman who runs the place is her personal friend, Cindy Taylor. Now, nearly all of these names I'm talking about, Marcia Estrada and I spoke about. So I'm going to post the link to that conversation between me and Marcia Estrada. You'll get to hear that Tamara exists. Scott DaCosta exists. Nicole Peralta exists. Jen Beebe exists. These people are not figments of my imagination. Marcia Estrada knows these people in a professional capacity, and she didn't have anything nice to say about any of them. She also knows Cindy Taylor. Cindy Taylor manipulated the shit out of me. Took advantage of me on multiple occasions. Not that Brenda Dickinson was going to give a shit. She was too busy telling me about her bowel movements and then praying to God, oh Lord, please make me not so negative, followed by 30 minutes of her talking negative, and then another talk about her bowel movements and how she couldn't poop, and then more of this, oh Lord, help me to stop talking negative. This is during the period of time that she was supposed to be hearing me, looking at evidence, and helping me to turn it in. This is before Natalie, well before Natalie was killed, over a year before Natalie was killed. I was at Dennis and Brenda Dickinson's house when I got the phone call from Natalie Bollinger when Natalie said that she was going to kill herself if I wasn't already on the road. So Dennis and Brenda Dickinson were involved with the situation all the way from the very beginning almost. Tamara is the only person who's ever actually listened since this started. Tamara took the time to get online as well as go through some of her personal books. See, here's something y'all don't know about Tamara. At the time, this is almost a decade ago now, Tamara had a son who has Asperger's. It's not called Asperger's anymore. It's called high-functioning autism. But we're different from high-functioning autistic people, and that's what sucks. We're not the same as high-functioning autistic folks. The criteria, we have what you might call minor differences, but they're not minor at all. And then we've got to deal with your projections. When you run into a gold nugget or a shiny diamond like Tamara, somebody who not only has somebody in their immediate family who's autistic, but also she tries to understand her autistic son instead of projecting onto him like most of us deal with from our families. Because we're different, our families will project shit onto us. People at school project this shit onto us. Teachers project shit onto us. If we're beaten up at school, we're told that it's our fault because we're the weird one. Why don't you try to be normal? You have any idea how many people have told me that when I'm trying to be normal? Or trying to act normal. There's nothing wrong with who I am. The problem is with you projecting onto me who I should be. Or projecting onto me who I am based on your opinion. And your opinion is based on a very one-sided situation. If you're only willing to listen to one side and you've already decided that a person is crazy and must be wrong as a result, or you've already decided that they must be a stalker or a rapist or a murderer. It doesn't matter how much evidence you're shown. You're not going to look at it. You're going to pretend it's all a lie. I've been taking these physical assaults for years, and I try to turn in the physical assaults. And the officers ask me why people are assaulting me, and I tell them about Natalie Bollinger. They tell me they can't hear about stuff in other jurisdictions and can't do anything about other jurisdictions. And then they treat me with a healthy level of skepticism about people assaulting me here in Tillamook over shit they're not willing to hear about from Colorado. Then later on, when they realize how honest I've been, they try to hide the fact that they treated me like I was a fucking retard. Oh, I believed you. I believed you. No, you didn't. You didn't treat me like you believed me. You treated me like I was a fucking retard. You treated me like I was a schizophrenic, delusional idiot telling you about dragons and fucking unicorns and goddamn alien brainwave rays that the CIA fucking put up my backside. Like, there's a far cry from saying that somebody fucking assaulted me and saying that it was fucking unicorns. Big difference. When you treat me like I'm schizophrenic for saying somebody fucking assaulted me, there's something wrong with you as a goddamn cop. Now, Tamara was aware of many of these issues. And she said something and meant it that none of these other people have done. She read the instructions. And she gave me a copy of the instructions, and I followed those instructions. She took her personal time to make me a list of things that, well, she looked it up on the internet, but it's a list of things that are supposed to help out somebody who's autistic. She said, when you get your disability money, this is stuff that is supposed to help you STEM. And when I got my disability money, that's what I tried to spend that money on. Stuff to help me STEM that was on that list, and getting the help that I needed to turn in the abuse. Tamara was going to help me to turn in the abuse. Now here's what happened. She realized what the problem was. That first list was things that when I get my disability money and they start giving me my back payments, this is what I need to spend it on because it'll help me. The second list that she gave me was the people that I am supposed to turn it into. And the third one was a list of keywords and phrases. Things that legally, when you say those words, they legally have to stop what they're doing and go into mandatory reporter mode. Also on that list was a whole bunch of stuff that mandatory reporters will change your words to when they don't want to do their job, and it's illegal for them to do that. Or things that they will say to you to try to deter you from turning it in. Like when your abuser has been abusing you for long term, it's a history of abuse. When they want to try to insinuate that you can't bring up things from the past, that is not true. That is a history of abuse, and they do need to be aware of it. They'll try to say, oh, well, we'll do something next time. Next time. You've been blown off by the police and told that you need to turn this into mental health. So you go to mental health, they tell you you're supposed to go to the police. They bounce you back and forth. Tamara was aware that this is the protocol. Tamara told me repeatedly, you don't need to go in by yourself. We're going to get this paperwork finished. We're going to get you your disability money. And then we're going to turn this in together. And then she quit her job. That was in early 2017. And after she quit her job, they didn't have a replacement. And I was being bullied into going to Colorado to the Front Range. We don't have any services in western Nebraska. You got to go to the Front Range. So Tamara, when she told me that her son was autistic, she didn't do it in the way that these other people tell me about autistic people. She said, my son's autistic. So I do know quite a bit. Tell me about yourself. Whew, that was refreshing. She understands that we're all different. She understands that I'm not going to be the same as her son. She understands that my quirks are different. And she also understood that I had post-traumatic stress disorder. So she listened to what my quirks were. She listened to understand. And instead of giving 400 ideas and 400 suggestions and asking if I've gone to this place or that place or wherever else, she let me tell her what was going on. And she didn't expect me to do it all in 5 minutes or less, or 30 minutes or less. We had a lot of appointments that we went to. Every single week, I had an appointment with her and an appointment with Nicole Peralta at the same time. And I went to those meetings. Tamara came and picked me up in Chapel, Nebraska. She drove all the way from Scottsbluff, Nebraska to Chapel, Nebraska, so that she could drive me to Sidney, Nebraska, to my appointment with her and my appointment with Nicole Peralta. Then she would drive me back to Chapel, Nebraska, and drive all the way back to Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Now, that's almost 6 hours of driving, plus the 2 hours of appointment time. All because I didn't have a friend or family member in Chapel, Nebraska that gave a holy fucking goddamn. And no point in time did I actually need to go to a fucking therapist. I needed a friend or family member to give a shit that people were fucking assaulting me and threatening to kill me and my friends and family. So Tamara helped me to do the paperwork, sat down with me to do the paperwork, understood that that's what needed to be done. You know who the last person before her was to do that? Natalie Bollinger in Virginia. Everybody else that claimed to be my friend, claimed to love me, claimed to care, what it ultimately came down to is that I literally had to pay them to do what a friend would do. Now, I'm not talking about your friends. Most of you who watch my channel, you guys and your friends are horrible people. You do horrible things to me. You make horrible accusations and mean videos. And you slander my name to a bunch of people because you don't like me. You assault people who you feel insulted by because they told the truth about you. Or as me, I got friends like that, people who have offered to beat the shit out of my fucking enemies before, people who have offered literally to shoot them for me. And I tell them no. I've also tried to turn in more than one person for making those offers. Don't offer to fucking murder somebody. It's not that nobody since then has actually sat down with me to fill out paperwork. It's that I had to fucking pull teeth for that. Tamara wasn't busy making excuses, but then again, she was getting paid to do that job, and she actually did the job, unlike Jen Beebe. Tamara at least did the job, but the problem is, what she got started, not one person since then has actually tried. Not one person has actually even tried doing what it is that Tamara did all of that diligent work to get for me. What do I need to safely turn it in? And you don't want to listen to the word safely, or you want to grossly reinterpret it into a bunch of different stuff, and you've got millions of ideas to keep me safe from all of these magic predators that don't actually fucking exist anywhere but in your head. Like, there is a difference between my reality and your assumption of my reality, which is why you need to listen to me tell you my reality and look at the evidence that I'm telling you the truth about my reality instead of inventing a reality for me. If you don't know the answer, you just make something up. So what's the difference between Tamara and literally everyone else? Well, Tamara kept her eyes on the prize, protecting me from Natalie Bollinger and her friends. A lot of people wanted to make fun of me. Oh, you're afraid of a little girl. No. I'm not afraid of a little girl. I'm afraid of a drug addict who knows how to use her looks to get what she wants, who knows how to manipulate to get what she wants. Natalie didn't want anybody believing me. That's why she slandered my name. And when people were physically harming me over it, instead of police officers taking it seriously, they wanted to tell me to get a hold of Natalie. And it actually makes sense, because even when we're kids, we're taught about bullies. So we're supposed to go to our bullies and tell them how it makes us feel when they bully us. I had teachers in school that I had to go to about bullies that would give me that advice. And I would tell the teacher, I already tried that, because that's what you told me last time he beat me up. What do you learn? Don't go to the fucking teachers. They're useless. Or you get the teacher that says, why are you tattling on him? See, we got two groups of people in the United States. The ones who go, why'd you fucking tattle on him? And the ones who go, why didn't you call the cops? Why did you tattle on him? And why did you call the cops? No matter what you do, you're going to piss somebody off. The homeless people, they get pissed off when I call the cops. People in houses get pissed off if I don't. Meanwhile, both sets are just going to assume what I'm doing anyway, so it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to get judged and punished regardless. That's the problem with making somebody a victim of the public. That's the problem with not doing your due diligence. Instead of doing their due diligence, these idiot cops wanted to make bad assumptions And when Natalie Bollinger ended up dead because they were lazy fucks, basically the only option they had at that point was to try to pretend like they didn't know nothing was going on and I'd never gone to them, to try to deter any witness who came forward who is not willing to lie and say the things that they wanted to hear. They would lie to that witness and say, you can't make a report for somebody else. No, these are witnesses making witness statements. And you are refusing to open a case. They tell these people who go in by themselves, oh, well, the victim has to turn it in. Yeah, I know. And I told those people that the victim has to turn it in. I told many victims who got pissed off that I wouldn't turn stuff in for them. They got pissed off because I wouldn't turn stuff in for them. Meanwhile, I tried. I also told them it's not going to do any good if you don't go in with me. But they were too afraid to go in even with me, so I had to do it by myself, only to be told that it doesn't do any good. You can't turn something in for somebody else. What about if it's child abuse? Well, if you're homeless, they'll just pretend that you're mentally ill and schizophrenic and delusional. Oh, he didn't really tell us about that girl coming up and saying, hey, my dad fucking raped me. So then you got to be able to record this stuff. And for years, I tried to get people to help me to get the equipment to record so that we could actually do that. But all anybody wanted to do is talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Like Claire Jordan, for 3 years, talking about how she has friends that do true crime and she's going to get me connected with these people. And she literally never did. Not in 3 years' time did she ever do so. None of the things that she said that she was going to do did she ever actually do. The closest I was able to get was to luckily call her and get a hold of her after she'd missed appointments and missed multiple phone calls where she was supposed to be helping. Then there's her excuses for not helping. Well, those excuses are not valid unless you come forward with me about them. Because if you don't tell the police why you didn't keep your word, they will make something up. And they will prey on the term mentally ill and the fact that they have a badge, so therefore they must be right, all because Claire Jordan is a fucking lazy piece of shit who's also extremely goddamn selfish. I believed that it was a situation where she was only selfish because she was trying to get her kids back. But since she's gotten her kids back, she has been just as selfish. When you want to say, well, what about the time she spent helping you? Did she actually spend time helping me? Or did she spend the time changing the subject and making it about her and talking about herself and interrupting me at the same place every time to make it about her? Seriously, listen to those conversations. She's not hearing what I'm telling her. She's only pretending to care. And the most simple instructions to make things easier, and she can't follow them. Claims that she is, like a pen and a notepad. If she'd have had a pen and a notepad, it would have been easy. And she claims she had a pen and a notepad, but then she can't talk about this stuff in front of her kids. Well, I got a real bad feeling about that. I have a feeling that the things that she's claiming about her kids are not true. I got a feeling that these 7 separate people, all children who came to her about being raped or molested, in Estes Park. And this is her excuse for not coming through over and over and over again. I got a feeling that these are just excuses, because these are, like I was explaining to you before, the excuses that we're not allowed to argue. Yes, we understand that helping a child is the most important thing. It is more important to help a child than an adult. Children are more important. So when you're lazy and you just don't want to keep your fucking word, you pretend that there's a child being abused. Now, another thing is this child abuse and this stuff with her children. When she was here, the majority of her focus was on complaining about the different agencies here, not complaining that she didn't have her kids. When it got to the she needs to go get her kids back thing, well, that was a completely different story. It was also at exactly the wrong time. When she showed up claiming that she was going to help me for some money, she didn't show up to help, which is why she didn't get paid any money. Now, she's had multiple excuses and lies about why she blocked me immediately after that. One of them is that she didn't block me. Casey went through her phone and blocked everybody that she was friends with. She didn't know I was blocked. Then it was, oh, well, I was afraid for your safety. I blocked you for your safety. No, she didn't. She blocked me when she showed up to help me and instead wanted to make it about her and waste my time and Cara Scudder's time with her stuff because she wanted my money so she could leave town. What she intended on doing was promising to help me so she could get paid, and then she was going to leave town before helping to turn it in. And when she realized that I wasn't going to fall for that crap after her and Casey had ripped me off on multiple occasions, she decided to punish me to retaliate because she was angry that I didn't give her free money by blocking me. Meanwhile, she knew that that was going to send me into a mental fucking breakdown. She knew that when she was a no-call, no-show and literally disappeared without saying a fucking word and blocked me. Yeah, you say, oh, well, when somebody blocks you, you should take the hint. Well, you have no idea how many people have gotten a hold of me and said, Sean, I need help, I need help, I need help. And I say, hey, you fucking blocked me. When I needed help, you didn't hear a word I had to say. You just blocked me. When Natalie Bollinger fucking died, you just blocked me. And now you want help. And you tell me, oh, I didn't block you, Sean. My boyfriend did that. Or my ex-boyfriend hacked my account. Or my little brother got into it while I was in the bathroom. Well, are you willing to help me? Oh, Sean, I'm too busy. I got kids. Well, fuck. How many times I got to go through this? Tamara had kids too. When she realized what I was going through, you know what her excuse for leaving her job was? Or, sorry, her reason? The reason that she told me, at least? She said, Sean, my son is a lot like you. And I need to quit my job to focus on making sure that he doesn't have to go through the abuse that you're going through. Yeah, that's how bad the abuse was before Natalie was killed. And you get to hear how many of Tamara's former coworkers I've had to go to since then. People who we get to hear in their own words that they do know who Tamara is. Yet they can't give me Tamara's last name. They can't give me any way to give a lawyer the ability to contact her and say, hey, I'm not sure if you noticed all this stuff that's going on here. The thing is that what the police needed to do to try to hide their crimes was to destroy body camera evidence and destroy facility camera evidence. And the only way to do that is to make sure, by whatever means necessary, that they prevent me from turning those crimes in for at least a year. Because after a year, they get to destroy that evidence. When I say we need to record it ourselves, and I have people who say, oh, why do we need to record it? The cops have body cams, yeah, and they can turn them off, and they can destroy them, and they can do a lot of other things. And they also want you to pay them a bunch of money for those body cameras. If you have to talk to the cops 30 times, then you have to try to get 30 body cameras, and they're going to make every excuse not to give it to you and not to even give you the paperwork and to tell you they don't know what you're talking about. Well, I don't know what you're talking about with the cameras. We're not allowed to give those out. You got to talk to the police chief. We can't just give you the police chief's number. If I do get to talk to the police chief, I have to talk to him alone, because the police aren't going to call you and talk to you on a schedule when you can have a friend or family member there so that you can safely turn it in. Now, more recently, thank goodness, some of these officers have allowed me to start my recording devices. Some of them just keep on talking, which I'm not okay with. If I'm not able to record what you're saying to me, you shouldn't be saying it to me. If you work in a professional capacity, you do not have the right to work in that professional capacity without being recorded. Everyone, every single person in this country is allowed to record under those circumstances. If you work for the government, or the company that you work for, nonprofit or not, receives government cash or subsidies, and you are a member of social services or social workers, are the people that you have employed, such as Care Incorporated. These people have a job to do, and that job is not to dismiss the victim. It's not to run the victim around in circles. The cops tell you that Care is supposed to do something, and the people at Care say that that's not their job. So you tell Care, hey, would you please tell the police that, so they stop sending us to you? Oh, well, that's not their job. And when they tell you that it's the police's job, and you go to the police and the police say, that's not our job, that's Care's job. Well, maybe you should tell Care that. Instead, you're bouncing me back and forth like a fucking ping pong ball. Care treats me like a liar, the police treat me like a liar. Care treats me like a liar, police treat me like a liar. How about we all three get together in a room and you can fucking say this shit to each other instead of victimizing the shit out of me for telling the truth? Tamera quit her job. That's not my fault. It's not my fault that people treat me like shit and try to project their bullshit onto me. It's not my fault that after years of Brenda Dickinson telling me to go fill out paperwork and go to the fucking housing place over and over and over again, and I did over and over and over again by myself, telling her every time, if I have to go in by myself, it's not going to go anywhere. But I try it anyway by myself because she's not going to volunteer to go with me. And when I ask her if she'll go in with me, she tells me, well, can't you do it by yourself? We just went over this. So after years of that, when she said, well, now that you're finally willing to try to get housing, I'll help you. No, Before you said that you would help me, you had to take the opportunity to take a fucking cheap shot and project onto me that I had not done what I had been doing that entire time. You projected onto me that the reason that you had never helped me before is because I didn't want housing before. No, that's not the case. See, people want to bully you into doing their next great idea. And once it's that next great idea, they got a bunch of other ideas, but they're not listening to your situation. So their ideas are not for your situation. They're just throwing out any willy-nilly idea they had off the top of their head after fucking half a sentence of listening. You get another half sentence into listening, you got to listen to their next idea. You don't get to explain to them the reality of your situation of doing those things because they're not going to listen to your story after making the suggestion. After they've made the suggestion, they're going to pretend that you're just shooting down their suggestions. I never asked you for suggestions, not once. I'm not asking you for suggestions. I'm telling you over and over again, I need you to listen. Can you make the time to listen? I'm sorry, Sean. You know, I can text you, but I can't talk right now. I don't need you to talk. I need you to listen. Listening doesn't require your fucking mouth at all. The first instructions for what you're supposed to do to help a victim. Number 1, listen without interruption. On 9 out of 10 of these lists that I've been given and the training that I did while I was in Boulder, listen without interruption. Don't assume. Remember that talking about yourself does not help the situation. Do not interrupt them. Don't interrupt them to make suggestions. Don't interrupt them to talk about yourself. Don't interrupt them to talk about others. Don't interrupt them to fucking grill them with questions. And also, if you do need to ask them a question, those of us who have been through this understand that there's 2 ways to do it. 1, you ask the question and you allow them to give you the answer. Or number 2, you ask a bunch of rapid succession questions. When you ask a bunch of rapid succession questions where there's no pause for breath in between asking each question, in those cases, you're not interested in hearing the person that you're asking the questions of. You're trying to overwhelm them. You're not interested in hearing them. If you were interested, you would ask one question and listen. And just because the answer isn't what you want to hear, isn't as fast as you want to hear it, or they say something about somebody that you're friends with that you don't like, you guys seeing how many different scenarios there are where a person who is trying to tell the truth is not going to be allowed to do that? That people treat us as if we're retarded and stupid, and that's been the problem all along. You are treating me with disrespect in a very undignified way. I got tired of people pretending to be my friends. And I say pretending because if you care about somebody, you listen to understand. When Natalie told me stuff, I listened to understand. When Alicia told me stuff, I listened to understand. When I told them stuff, they listened to use it to manipulate others into harming me. They intentionally went out of their way to twist what I had said into something that I hadn't. Intentionally lied about situations and omitted information to try to paint me as the bad guy, knowing full well that I hadn't done anything wrong. Natalie didn't care that I hadn't done anything wrong. What she cared about was doing whatever was in her power to make sure that nobody would listen to me, that nobody would believe me. All she was interested in was convincing people not to look at the evidence, the same as the cops have done. Not that it makes any difference. None of my friends were going to take a look at the evidence anyway because they're not friends. See, listening to the victim is a fucking easy thing to do. Anything other than that, anything at all, is a power and control issue. No matter how much you want to say that it's for the victim, no, it's not. Tamera needs to fucking come forward and clean this shit up. Tamera needs to come forward and explain this shit to people. But none of these people in these government agencies who fucked up are going to bother reaching out to any of the victims who are going to verify that these officers fucking lied, that they made up their own story. They didn't know the truth. I told them the truth. They didn't like the truth, so they made something up. And not one person went in with me to keep me safe from that kind of fucking abuse. And it is abuse. It's against the fucking law for police to do this. They took advantage of a fucking disabled person because you, who claim to be my friends, allowed them to do it. You, who are supposed to be my friends, did everything that you could to make me unsafe when I had to turn stuff in. That's the problem with going to street people for help. Or even former street people like Kayla Trujillo, who, well, after speaking with her mother, it turns out that Kayla Trujillo was full of shit about a lot of stuff growing up. She wasn't hanging out down there doing drugs at 14 years of age and fucking having sex with Joshua Hebert right after he got out of big boy prison when she was 14 years of age because she came from a fucking horrible broken family and was forced into homelessness. No, she was never homeless. She was literally not homeless. You know, she wanted to pretend like she was a child out there on the streets and had nowhere to go, and so on and so on and so on. And her mom's like, that's not true. She always had a home. Her mom didn't know anything about Kayla Trujillo's homelessness. See, by the time Tamera, this is after January of 2017, because I got housing in 2016 at the very end of it. I had a mental breakdown, several mental breakdowns over the harassment and abuse and not being able to see my friends or family. And I was assaulted repeatedly. No matter what, it's the wrong jurisdiction, even if they did it in the same exact jurisdiction that I'm in, and I'm turning it into the police in the same exact jurisdiction that I'm in, I get told it's the wrong jurisdiction. Andrew Wolnez assaults me in Tillamook, Oregon over bullshit with Natalie Bollinger in um, fucking Virginia and Colorado. And I get told, well, it's out of my jurisdiction because it happened in Colorado. No, it didn't. Andrew Wolnez assaulted me here, stupid. Stop pretending you don't understand the English language, asshole. The thing that Tamara said to me that made me trust her, it wasn't that she said that we were going to fill out the paperwork together. It's that she said that we were going to get disability. And then we were going to turn it in together. And I try to explain to all these people who claim that they're going to help me. They want to help me. How can they help me? And I tell them exactly how they can help me. I tell them what was on that list. I've gotten several lists that are similar. They're not the same, but they're very, very similar since then. And I try to read them what's on the list because they won't look at it. Even if I send them what's on the list, they don't read it. When these people are telling me to do all these things so they can look at it without me, the reason that they're doing that, the reason that they're having me spend hundreds of hours to send them evidence that they could easily look at with me, is because they don't actually want to do it. They want to be able to pretend that they looked at it, but they don't want to read. This is the United States of America, for Christ's sake. I love reading, but I'm weird. People in other countries, many people in other countries celebrate reading, celebrate the ability to read. Here in America, they're like, I don't want to fucking read. Oh, another one of my predators is here on my channel. What do we do with these fellers? Well, the first thing we do is we do our due diligence. This is one of the people I've been attempting to get a protection order against for several years. And of course, he keeps harassing me. This is stalking. So let's find out who's pretending to be Sword and Scale TV. Now, do I have anybody to turn this in with me? No, I don't. I've got people who claim that they will, but their actions show that they're never going to get around to it. There's too many other things that they want to do instead. Too many other ideas other than look at the evidence and turn it in with the victim. Now, what did Sword and Scale do? Same thing as these other places did, but Sword and Scale was at the very beginning. I didn't know who the fuck they were. But Mike Boudet apparently had his friend Josh call me and claim that he wanted to hear my story and that they would tell my story and tell my side. And the deal was, in exchange for hearing my story, number one, they wouldn't print anything or share anything until her murderer was caught. Number two, as soon as they got off the phone with me, because they recorded the conversation, they needed to send it immediately to the police. The other quote unquote media was Heavy D, and the woman's name was Jennifer Juzowski. And her and I had the same exact deal. Now we're going to focus on Mike Boudet here, and the reason that we're going to focus on this predator. So he had his friend Josh do the interview. And then instead of keeping his word, they didn't send that stuff to the police. Instead, they chopped up little bits and pieces to try to make me out to be some sort of a horrible excuse for a human being. Now, I did try to send him evidence, tried to post evidence showing that it was slander. But the thing is, he intentionally went out of his way to slander my name. Intentionally went out of his way to make sure that I was victimized. Went out of his way to help not just my predators, but also Natalie Bollinger's predators. She tried to make Tim Beeson out to be some sort of goddamn saint. Now this guy's over here typing shit. trying to pretend like it's okay for him to harass me after his criminal acts have resulted in me being physically assaulted and harassed repeatedly. Now, the videos with myself, Jai Rogers, and Detective Peterson show that I told the truth. They show that I was able to prove with actual evidence that I was the one who was being stalked, that it was groups of people who were taking part. That they had made multiple fake accounts to harass me, that they had literally threatened to kill me and my friends and family repeatedly over and over and over again. Now, Mike Boudet didn't want to see any of that evidence. He also didn't bother to listen to my story. What they did is chop it up and use things out of context and make shit up. And then they made a second one. Now, I got to hear they made a third Sword and Scale episode about it too. A you have to pay with special membership one. Several people got a hold of me to say, dude, I fucking listened to the third one and it just fucking disgusted me. It was literally him and his friend making fun of you the whole time. I mean, it's disgusting to listen to these people make fun of a disabled person that they helped to victimize. And that's the reality. That's the reality for me. That predators like this commit criminal acts and then want to victimize me and blame me because they did wrong shit. To claim that it's my fault that they did wrong shit. Like the people who want to claim that it's my fault that people assault me. No, it's not. I don't choose for them to assault me. Are you fucking insane? Now, of course, what do I do with these fellers? I do take pictures of it. This guy wants to get his words out there. He can do it on his own goddamn channel. Now, we'll take pictures of this stuff so we got evidence of it. That's easy as shit. You know what else is easy? Getting rid of the motherfucker. He's gone. It was that easy. He wanted to type in my live chat and harass me in my live chat and stalk me in my live chat. Well, now he's gone from my live chat. So the thing is, by refusing to do their jobs and slandering my name repeatedly, these officers went out of their way to make me a target. Went out of their way not to listen to anybody who knew what was going on. Went out of their way not to look at any evidence, to make any excuse not to. Oh, and of course, you get to see right here, we get more people doing this. We've got already 2 more accounts to block. All within just a few seconds, no problem. Hide user on this channel. Pretty easy, no problem. That person's gone. How about this one? Hide user on this channel. They wanted to get on and name call and belittle and bully. Now, I could either belittle and bully them back, or I could just block them. Blocking them is easy. I can do that on the internet. I cannot do that in real life. And with several of my predators on the internet here being in the same town as me right now, I need somebody to take the situation seriously and look at the evidence and turn it in with me, because if they don't take that seriously, I will get treated like I am delusional and schizophrenic and all sorts of other stuff, because everybody deserves a right to turn in their predators. The Bollingers and their friends had no right to destroy evidence. They had no right to target me. They had no right to threaten my life and threaten my friends' and family's lives before Natalie was killed or after. Oh, let's take another picture here. We got already another one. Like I said, I have to deal with predators. My friends don't give a shit. But we've already blocked 4 predators on just this one post. 4 people who have decided that it's okay to harass me and to bully me as a group. Oh, we've got somebody calling themselves Mike Boudet. And you get to see I'm taking pictures of the many, many, many accounts that they're harassing me with. So this is the 5th stalker account blocked on this channel. What's the difference between these pieces of shit in Tillamook and Tamara? Tamara would help me to turn it in. She said that the reason that nobody was doing anything about people abusing me for being disabled and taking advantage of my disabilities and using the term mentally ill as their excuse to do so is that I needed to get disability. Because once I was disabled on paper for them, then legally the police would have to do something about it. Well, the police don't care about the law. That's obvious. And when Tamara wasn't there to help turn it in like she was gonna, who did I have to go to? Not difficult. The same people who I'd had to go to before, the people who made excuses. It happens, right? When Natalie came into my life, she was 18, and I believe I was 35 or 36. 35. Now, I'd known who she was because I'd been running her off for years. She'd been selling drugs for her dad down by the library. But I'd hurt my back in 2015. And instead of people trying to understand what that actually meant, they wanted to bully me into doing things that I couldn't do. One example is, I didn't have much money, and I had a prepaid flip phone, one of the ones that you pay, and it takes 50 cents a minute, or 50 cents a text, or I want to say like 10 cents a minute for a call or something like that. Like, it's way cheaper to call somebody than it is to text them. And I couldn't pay my phone bill, so it was off for like a week and a half. And I really needed it to be able to be in contact with a woman named Veronica Randall, who supposedly wanted to help me. This is after I hurt my back. And one of the things that she was angry about me about is that they had given me a bike. I paid for this bike. I gave them money for this bicycle. And somebody stole the seat off of it. But when I hurt my back, I couldn't get on a bike anymore. And instead of understanding that I couldn't get on the bike, she treated me completely like shit because I wasn't using the bike. She wanted to pretend that my disabilities didn't prevent me from going to work. No, my disabilities not only prevent me from going to work because I can't physically do those things to get to work, I also cannot physically do my job once I get to work, which doesn't matter because I can't physically get to work. So when she called me up, she was texting me over and over and over again once I finally got service. And I was asking her in texting, please stop texting me. It's expensive for you to text me. Please call me. And, you know, every text that she sends me costs me 50 cents. And instead of paying attention to that and sending me a well thought out message, she sends me 5 to 10 quick messages in a row. I mean, I got to pay for a $25 phone card so that I can do this. And she sends me 10 texts in 10 seconds. Like, holy shit, she can type fast. Now, 10 texts at 50 cents a text, that's $5. That's 1/5 of a $25 phone card right there. And she doesn't care. Now, she did this multiple times so that the entire $25 card was eaten up, and almost the entire thing. I had like $3 left. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to call her. All right, there's no reason to argue with her in texting. She's obviously taking everything I text as a personal insult and saying that I'm not willing to do stuff. Obviously, I should call her. I'm almost out with the $25 that I just spent on this phone card. A 5-minute conversation would have cost me 50 cents. And then I called her up. I didn't even get to open my mouth. She started off with yelling at the top of her lungs at me. Name calling, being a bully, being mean. Now, of course, we've got more predators on here, more stalkers that think this kind of behavior is okay. So we're going to take a screenshot of that. And then what do? You know what we do? Something we can't do in real life. Just get rid of them. While the Bollingers encouraged people to destroy evidence, to try to destroy my Facebook, to harass me, to threaten me, to physically assault me, and literally were threatening to kill me. And nobody gives a holy fucking goddamn. No matter what, you'll make excuses why it's okay somehow. No matter what lie you have to make up, you'll do it. Anything that makes you feel better about being wrong. Meanwhile, at least Tamera tried. At least she understood that if she doesn't go in with me, nothing's going to happen. Brenda Dickinson herself showed that the only way for me to get help is for somebody to go in with me. The only time that they were going to take it seriously and help me to get housing and actually give me housing is if a friend or family member went in with me who was aware of the situation. All these people saying, Sean, you're disabled. You should have housing already. Why don't you have housing? Well, asshole, let me tell you why. Because I don't have a friend or family member who will help me to turn it in instead of fucking hounding me over it. if you're going to hound me to go in and do something I've already done, and I've done it repeatedly, and I've done it alone, and you're going to hound me to do that again alone, just so you can treat me like shit afterwards, not only don't pretend to be my friend, don't fucking talk to me. That's abusive as fuck. "10 years later, I'm still taking abuse over the goddamn Bollingers. 10 years later, my predators are still harassing me. My stalkers are still harassing me. They're still stalking me. They're still slandering my name, trying to encourage others to harm me, and it fucking works.